Hey guys, so welcome to today. So I guess what I wanted to cover today was really about, now actually, where's my video done? Let me just get me on the video at least. So we can, no, there we go, that's better. I don't know why that's not, okay, hold on, wait there. I think we've, sorry, technical difficulties. Yeah, so welcome to the COVID update for property investors today, the 23rd of March, 2020. So it's been an interesting weekend, guys. If you've looked at the numbers, and I'll put the numbers up here while we're here. It's pretty full on. In fact, I'll just talk you through. So if you look at it, we talk about the bell curve. The bell curve now really is hitting it hard in the US, starting to hit in the US, starting to definitely hit in Europe. And so we're going to see that for the next couple of weeks, I think, where things are really going to start to kick off. There's not a lot we can really do about that. We've just got to sit back, hang tight, and really just, accept that the shutdown and social distancing and that sort of stuff. So, but anyway, let's get into it. I think, it's pretty interesting what's going on because look, I said I started at that 30 days and the countdown at 30 days because I figured, if we lock down tight, if we social distance, if we do everything, it's going to take about 30 days before we can start relaxing that and, to get us to the top of the thing before we can, start popping down the bottom. The challenge is that really is, that's on the premise that, social distancing. I put social distancing there. And I think, the key with this whole thing is if we're not going to social distance, if we're not going to adhere to that, and we're still going to go out and see, we had Mother's Day, and I know it sounds terrible, but really, the last thing you want to be doing is going to work and then going to Mother's Day or going to, wherever, things like that. You really just want to stay in your own, home unit because that's the best way to stop this, okay? And I'm still saying 24 days at this stage of the UK. I think it's interesting because if you're starting to look now, Europe really is in the thick of it, okay? UK's starting to get into the thick of it. And actually what you're seeing is the US has now just started getting in the thick of it. Australia hasn't started yet, but is going to start, so different countries are in different phases of that, as, you're probably hearing. I still think 84 days for the social lifestyle impact before things start to get back to a resemblance of normal. And I think that's, most people are saying that anyway. So one of the things I thought I'd just show you this, and it actually was an animated GIF, but I thought I'd just show you this. There we go. Which is that basically if one person gets infected and they give it to 3 people, okay, who gives it to 8 people, who gives it to, we end up with this many people. That's a lot of people from one person infected. And that's this, all right? But if we just listen to the politicians, and I know that's not normal. In fact, don't listen to politicians. Listen to the medical doctors. Listen to the guys that are actually dealing with this. If this person doesn't actually go to work, work from home, if this person didn't go to that barbecue, if that person didn't fly domestically, if that person stayed home, then we end up with a lot less of a crisis. And that is what's going on now. And, it doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't matter you can still pass this on. So you've got to cut ties. Anyway, enough of my preaching. Let's have a look at where we are. So if you look at on Friday, so this is Thursday's numbers, 220,000. Friday's numbers, 248, 28,000 jump. Over the weekend, from 248 to 339,000. Yeah, that is now we're hitting the things on a worldwide scale. This is, US has jumped to number 3. I think US really, and if you think about it, they are crying out for people to actually get tests, get equipment, get all sorts of things. They really have stuffed this one, yeah? But anyway, that's the sort of stats for today. You can go on Worldometers to have a look at that. Also, the John Hopkins Have Resources site, which has the latest, greatest. But what I want to talk about today was the stimulus packages. This is not all of them. I just want to pick and choose a few of them that I've been sort of following and seeing what's going on. And I think the interesting thing with these stimulus packages is, there's various cases, and I'll put in green the things that I kind of agree with, and the red that I don't agree with, and I think they might have stuffed up. Look at Australia. Let's just look at Australia for an instance. 66 billion in the first package, 189 in the second. So 189, good response. Yeah, happy with that. Great. But no UBI, universal basic income. In other words, just saying, guys, have some cash, or we'll guarantee this level of cash. Yeah. And what that has meant is that basically businesses are shedding staff in the truckloads. There is stories of lines hundreds of meters long outside the Centrelink, which is the welfare area where you register for it. You have to go in there and physically register. And basically people arrived at 4 a.m. to get in the line, and they didn't get seen until 1:30. And people that arrived too late didn't get seen, and now they're going to go back tomorrow, and there's going to be another wave of people coming in. So, their system, their whole welfare system is failing, and these are, people are just losing their jobs and have no money and all this sort of stuff. And that's, this is a real human tragedy, this. Forget about the politics. I mean, if we come across the US, they've pumped 1.5 trillion in a bond purchase or QE, which is great. Helps the big businesses and the wealthy people. Doesn't really help everyone else, And I don't care what you say. If you pump the money in up there, it doesn't trickle down. That's been proven to be wrong. And yet, the package that they're talking about, which might help people out, what happens? They're playing politics. Yeah. So, they don't want to give it. They want to means test it. They want to do this. And so they basically haven't decided it yet. That's what happens with a terrible leadership and a corrupt system. This is the real human tragedy. There's politicians getting it wrong, and then there's politicians that really don't care about the people. And the US seems to be showing its true colours massively. And Trump, well, I mean, he's just, I don't even need to go any further with that idiot. Interesting, Canada, they've got a 27 billion direct support and a 55 billion tax deferrals. I'm not that much of a fan on the tax deferrals. Yes, they help businesses, but tax deferrals tend to be in the, further end. What people need right now is money, is cash in their hand. One of the problems that the UK has found is they don't know how to give that money to everybody. Okay, it's not like they have everyone's bank accounts to give it. So this is one of the issues they're facing is, do they have the ability to do that? And they don't right now in the UK. They're trying to get around it, so they're still talking about that. And, if you look at the UK, what they've talked about is essentially a UBI. So rather than sacking people, rather than getting rid of them off the books, so you're not paying them anymore and they become a welfare problem, and then you have all the issues that Australia have, let's just say to employers, keep them on your books, we'll pay 80% of their wage up to a certain level, and that allows hundreds of thousands of people to keep their jobs. I mean, this is the best system. And look, I'm often critical about politicians in the UK, but I have to say the system is pretty good. The problem I have is it's light on detail about can you do certain things. So, for instance, can you have them work a week and then have a week off? Furlough for a week. But as well, they've deferred tax payments. Which is great, given that they've done that other thing. But grants, loans, slow in coming, and that's one of the problems right now. They're really struggling. How do we get money into the people's pockets immediately? Okay, and that's the real problem. Most businesses need money now. Most individuals need money now, and that is the real challenge right now. But you look at the EU package, down there. My goodness, they are just late to the party. I mean, they're a bunch of sleeping dozers, and oh my goodness, 128 billion bond purchases. Great for the big corporates, horrible for the individuals who are really facing the human tragedy there. And then they've added 800 more billion. So that's great, for the big businesses. But for the individual businesses, they must be just stuffed, So they're going to have massive unemployment. I mean, we talk about the Great Recession. Potentially, this could be worse for places like the US and the EU. And if you think about it, if the US and the EU, the two biggest, if you've got China and those EU and the US, the three biggest places, China is already looking pretty good compared. I mean, they don't make no mistake. It's been a damaging time for them. But the US and EU just don't have it together yet. They just don't. South Korea, I don't really know enough about that. But, they got in early. And I think Singapore got in early. And the ones that got in early have seen and got in early and dealt with it and took it seriously. They've seen, rather than do this, they've actually been able to do this. And their figures are relatively flat, which is great news. Interestingly, and this is again one of the things, and make no mistake, I love China and I love all that sort of stuff, but it's authoritarian and they are able to do a lot of these things, but they are actually, if you go on social media now, you're going to see planes landing with police from China who are now patrolling the streets in Italy and Serbia and Croatia, and they're bringing medical doctors, they're bringing nurses, they're bringing equipment, they're bringing goods, they're bringing all this sort of stuff. And it's almost like China's going, hey guys, we've got the experience, let's help you guys. They are turning this into a massive PR success the likes that not even Trump can pull out. I mean, that guy is just, look, I haven't got a good word to say about him. He is an appalling human being, probably the worst in history. Just the sheer lack of concern for people is appalling. Anyway, enough of that. Let's not get into politics, because this is all about people, So guys, so that's the sort of thing. Now, my thoughts are this, okay? If you're a business owner right now, you've got to use the packages. I mean, I've got businesses in Australia and I've got businesses here. I've got businesses in Singapore as well. And you've got to look at what's available now and use it. I mean, you've been paying tax. You've been doing what you need to do forever. Use these things. But read the detail. Don't listen to the news. I mean, I was talking to my parents today. I'm saying don't listen to the news. Read the government websites and find out the detail. The devil's in the detail. Because when this 80% come out, it sounded really good. I thought, great, 80% of the wage is going to be sorted and they can keep working. No, I've got to put them off. That's the one challenge I have with the furlough in the UK, is they've actually, you have to put the people off rather than keep them employed, which adds its own problems. But anyway, that's, it's better than nothing, certainly. Look, I said the government owes you, well, government owes you. Okay, yeah, fair enough. But importantly, pivot your business. Yeah. And what I mean by that is this. Okay, guys, pivoting your business. Right now, your business may have changed fundamentally. What the business was and what it is now and what it will become could be totally different. So for instance, I have a sales business. Yeah. Every month we start at zero. Okay. Because we have to start at zero and we have to make sales through the month in order to make money. All right. And that's just how that business works. Now, the reality with that business is we're unlikely to make lots of sales. So therefore, I'm furloughing most of the guys. But what am I doing? I'm furloughing them, hopefully for 2, maybe 3 weeks. And then what I'm going to do is I'm pivoting the business. So I'm going to start doing online courses. So starting Thursday, I'm running free property education courses. If you're sitting at home and you want to know what to do, then come and listen to my courses. They're free, and I'll be picking a specific subject and deep diving into that so you can become an expert at property investment. You may say, well, actually, why are you doing that? That's ridiculous. It's what I know. It's what I can do. Today, my kids jumped onto a fitness thing. I forget the name of the guy, a UK guy who basically did a free fitness thing. Half an hour later, they're dripping in sweat, which is great news. Yeah. And interestingly, I don't know how many guys he had watching it, but it was clearly a success. That sort of stuff is what we need. The creativity, but the ability to pivot the business. Okay. So we may, rather than sell properties in the short term, we may start selling online courses. Okay. To bring some income. Because what I want to do is be able to supplement the government's got 80%. I want to supplement my guys 20%. And keep that business going so that when we do come out of this, we're ready to go. Yeah. So as employees, I think, you've got to restructure your finances. So I'm going to be running another thing, okay, which is about personal financial management and how to restructure your finances, and pivot your finances. Now you might be on 20% less than what you were getting. Okay. So they'll all be free because, this is one of the things. The one thing I can do, I'm not in the UK, I'm in Singapore right now. The one thing I can do is jump online and give my knowledge that might help you, get through this and get your, family and team in a better position, or your business in a better position. So, restructure your finance, that's the first thing. Use the packages that are available. The government, you've been paying your taxes, now's the time when the government can look after you for a bit, all right? So I think that's really essential. And the other thing is, work your ass off to keep your job. And work your ass off to keep your business going, because if you do that, it's going to, at the end of this, there's going to be a lot of people unemployed. There's going to be a lot of businesses have not survived. And so you don't want to be on that, queue that is looking for a job. Okay. So, you got to find ways of keeping your job and keeping your business in business. Yeah. And that really is the responsibility of an entrepreneur and a business owner, is to try and, pivot as much as it needs to make the money to get through this. And even if you just survival through this will be an amazing feat, okay? Hopefully the government, says what they're going to do, which is, the UK government, they'll do whatever it takes. Hopefully the Aussie government pivots. Hopefully the US government goes, let's put politics aside and let's, look after the humans, and if they do that, fantastic, So, yeah, guys, that's pretty much where we're at. Look, I think you've got to stay safe, you've got to stay healthy, social distancing and all that sort of stuff. It's looking like this is going to be the next sort of 4 to 6 weeks of, massive disruption before we come out of it. I mean, Wuhan has just relaxed their lockdowns and all that sort of stuff, which is good news. That's about 2 months, okay, of the full. The rest of China was about a month. So it depends on how good your guys have been. You think Wuhan locked down everything, but they locked it down late. The rest of China locked it down. They locked it down reasonably well, and they had a month. So it depends on the country you're in as to how long, but it's, a 1 to 2 months sort of thing that you're going to be looking at. And we'll see how it goes. But look, I'm going to keep coming to you every day with the bits and pieces that I know. We'll pick a subject, give you my thoughts, and any questions you've got, pump them into the thing. And I look forward to helping you in any way we can, and hopefully, you can pivot your businesses and you can, help your businesses survive. And I think if you can do that, then we'll all be all right, and we'll get through this. As we will get through this, it's going to be tough, for everyone. I don't think there's anyone who's not going to be affected by this. All right, guys, have a great day, and pivot as much as you can, support as much as you can, look after each other, stay healthy, stay safe. All right, guys, have a great day. Live with passion. See you later. Bye.